Last time on Say Less, I Love You.
To Nyla, from scrubs to riches.
I'm still me, just with better accessories.
Face it, we needed that formula. We needed Nyla.
Nyla this, Nyla that. I'm tired of Jacob talking about her.
Without Nyla's formulation, Stone Hospital Group would have gone under.
Money changes people, Nyla.
Yeah, well, maybe I needed to change.
This feels right.
We can't do this. You're engaged to Trixa now.
I want you.
Nyla Thomas thought she was getting a simple fake marriage.
Marry me and I'll pay for your grandfather's treatment.
It's just business, right?
Right.
But little did she know the viper's nest she was coming into.
You may try to better yourself, Nyla, but you will never catch up to your betters.
I make the rules, Nyla. You follow them.
They beat her down, took her dignity. What they never expected was
that she would fight back.
Find out what happens when you push a woman too far.
Chapter 1, 126, Trixa. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling as the minutes tick by on my Cartier watch. 3:47 a.m. The sound of Jacob's key in the lock sends my heart racing, but I keep my breathing steady, feigning sleep. His footsteps pause in the doorway. I can picture him there, probably checking if I'm awake. The floorboards creak as he moves to the bathroom. The shower starts running. I open my eyes, glancing at his discarded clothes on the chair. Even from here, I catch the faint whiff of a familiar scent. Chanel No. 5. My stomach twists. I know that perfume. It's what Nyla wore at the hospital fundraiser last month. I close my eyes again as the shower stops. Jacob's bare feet pad across the hardwood floor. The mattress dips as he slides under the covers, careful not to disturb me. "Trixa?" he whispers. "You awake?" I keep my breathing deep and even, like I'm lost in dreams. After a moment, he settles in beside me. The space between us feels like miles. Once upon a time, he would have pulled me close, wrapped his arms around me. Now he stays on his side, careful not to touch me. My chest aches, but not from the cancer. This is a different kind of pain. I want to reach out, to bridge this growing divide between us. But I can't, not yet. Not until I figure out how to tell him about my diagnosis. So I lie here, pretending to sleep, while my fiancé pretends he hasn't just been with another woman. We're both such good actors, aren't we? Playing our parts in this elaborate charade of happiness. The irony isn't lost on me. After everything I did to get him back, I might lose him anyway, either to Nyla or to this disease eating away at me. Maybe both. The next day at lunch, I can't help but keep thinking about Jacob's late night. Should I confront him? What evidence do I even have? And right now, I'm the one with the biggest secret. I pick at my Waldorf salad, the crisp apple and celery tasting like cardboard in my mouth. Around me, the ladies who lunch chatter away at our usual table at La Goulou, their voices a symphony of trivial concerns that used to be my whole world. I swear if Derek plays one more Nickelback song during spin class, I'm switching to SoulCycle. Sydney huffs, adjusting her Hermes scarf. I force myself to nod, though my mind is elsewhere. The word cancer burns in my throat, desperate to escape. "You should try yoga instead," Clara chimes in, stirring her green juice with practiced elegance. "My rooftop sessions at sunrise are absolutely transformative. The way the light hits the Manhattan skyline while we salute the sun." Julia, Jacob's sister, catches my eye across the table. She's always been more perceptive than the others. "Trixa, you're quiet today. Everything okay?" "Just tired," I lie, plastering on my society smile, the one I've perfected over years of charity galas and social obligations. "Oh my God, speaking of yoga," Sydney leans in, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "Did you hear about Marcus, that hot instructor at Pure?" Clara gasps with theatrical delight. "The one with the man bun? What about him?" "He's totally hooking up with that hedge fund wife who always takes the front row spot," Sydney reveals, eyes sparkling with gossip. "No way! Jennifer Ashcroft?" Clara's perfectly manicured hand flies to her mouth. I stare into my water glass, watching the lemon slice bob up and down. A month ago, I would have been all over this scandal. Now it seems so insignificant. The words bubble up again. I have cancer. I have cancer. I have cancer. But they stay trapped behind my teeth as my friends continue their chatter about downward dogs and illicit affairs. You haven't lived until you've tried hot Pilates, Taylor gushes, leaning across the table. This new studio downtown, it's absolutely transformative. The instructor, Chad, he's got this way of... Downtown? Sydney wrinkles her nose. Like below 59th Street? The traffic alone would give me wrinkles, Clara adds, touching her perfectly smooth forehead. It's worth it, Taylor insists. The way Chad works your core... My water glass trembles in my hand. The chatter about Pilates and traffic patterns swirls around me, a meaningless stream of privilege and petty concerns. A week ago, I would have been right there with them, complaining about crossing town for exercise. Now all I can think about are white blood cells and survival rates. Excuse me, I manage, pushing back my chair. I need some air. I hurry toward the restaurant's powder room, my Louboutins clicking against the marble floor. Behind me, I hear another chair scrape back. Trixa, wait, Julia calls after me. I pause at the powder room door, my hand trembling on the brass handle. Julia catches up, her face etched with concern. What's going on? You've been off all lunch. Just wedding stress, I say, the lie slipping out easily. There's so much to coordinate, and your mother has opinions about everything. Julia's eyes soften. I know how she can be, but that's not all, is it? For a moment, I consider telling her. Julia's always been different from the others, kinder, more genuine. The words rise in my throat. I'm sick. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Instead, I force a smile. Really, it's fine. I just need a minute. If you need help with Mom or anything else... Julia touches my arm gently. Thanks, I say, slipping into the powder room before she can see the tears threatening to spill.
Chapter 1, 127, Jacob. Returning home that night, I was resolute. Trixa and I were over. But finding her asleep at 3 a.m, a picture of serenity, disarmed my resolve. The next day, she vanished, leaving me with a lingering sense of unease and a missed opportunity. Weeks bled into months, and the weight of unspoken words of a relationship left dangling festered. The worst part? The gaping silence between Nyla and me. Now, here we are, forced to face each other in the sterile confines of a boardroom, expected to maintain a professional facade while our personal connection simmers with unspoken tension. I shift uncomfortably in my leather chair as Nyla strides into the boardroom, Kevin Shaw following close behind her like a well-trained shadow. Her presence immediately electrifies the room, and I can't help but notice how stunning she looks in her tailored navy suit. The tension between us is palpable. I wasn't aware we needed legal representation today, I say, trying to keep my tone light despite the knot in my stomach. Nyla's eyes meet mine, cold and professional. I deserve to have an ally in this den of snakes, don't you think? I wince at her choice of words. No one here is a snake, Nyla. Really? She raises an eyebrow, taking her seat across from me. Then why haven't you returned any of my calls? Nyla, But before I can finish, Hilda shoots me a look. I know how unprofessional this seems. The other board members exchange glances, clearly sensing the underlying tension. Kevin settles into the chair beside Nyla, spreading out his papers with methodical precision. Let's turn our attention to the agenda, shall we? I ask, desperate to steer the conversation back to business. Of course, Nyla replies, her voice dripping with sarcasm. That's what you're good at, isn't it? Avoiding personal matters in favor of business? Derek clears his throat uncomfortably. Should we begin with the quarterly projections? Please, I say, grateful for the interruption. But as the meeting progresses, I can't focus on the numbers being discussed. My eyes keep drifting to Nyla, watching how she leans in to whisper something to Kevin, how her hand lingers on his arm. Each interaction feels like a deliberate jab at my indecision about Trixa. When Nyla speaks up about the Neuromax timeline, her voice is pure ice. I trust the Stone Hospital Group will honor all contractual obligations, unlike certain other promises I've heard lately. I grip my pen tighter. Every agreement will be honored, Nyla. You have my word. Your word. She laughs, but there's no humor in it. That means a lot coming from you. I watch as Nyla leans forward. About the financial disbursements to board members. Have there been any updates on the timeline? My mother shifts in her chair, her silk scarf rustling. Nyla, dear, those matters are handled separately from today's general budget overview. I see, Nyla says, her tone sharp enough to cut glass. And when exactly will they be handled? In due time, Mother replies smoothly. Now, as we were discussing the Q3 projections. I notice Nyla's jaw clench, but she sits back, crossing her arms. Kevin whispers something in her ear, and she nods slightly. The sight makes my stomach turn. Trixa begins her presentation about marketing strategies, but I can see her attention keeps drifting to Nyla, who's now typing away on her phone. The soft tapping of her fingers against the screen fills the awkward pauses between Trixa's words. As I was saying, Trixa says, her voice rising slightly, our market penetration in the northeast sector. She stops, clearing her throat pointedly. Nyla doesn't even look up. Perhaps, Trixa continues, each word dripping with forced politeness, we could all give our full attention to these critical matters. Oh, I'm sorry, Nyla responds, finally looking up with a saccharine smile. Was there something important being discussed? I must have missed it between all the corporate buzzwords. I resist the urge to pinch the bridge of my nose. This meeting is going to be longer than I thought. I linger in the boardroom after everyone else files out, my fingers absently tracing the polished mahogany table. Through the glass walls, I watch Nyla walking away with Kevin, her hand resting on his forearm as they laugh about something I can't hear. Well, that was quite the performance, Mother says, breaking my concentration with her disapproving sniff. The girl clearly needs lessons in proper boardroom etiquette. Trixa nods, perching on the edge of the table. Did you see how she kept checking her phone? So unprofessional. She's new to this, I say, tearing my eyes away from Nyla's retreating figure. It was her first board meeting. Oh, darling, Mother laughs, the sound sharp as cut glass. There aren't enough meetings in the world to train that woman how to behave in a boardroom. Jacob, Trixa's voice carries a warning edge. Why are you so eager to defend her? I straighten my tie, buying time to compose myself. I'm not defending anyone. I'm just saying we should cut her some slack. Slack? Mother scoffs. This isn't some community college study group. This is business. Through the glass, I catch one last glimpse of Nyla as she enters the elevator. Kevin's hand rests on the small of her back, and something inside me twists painfully. The door slides shut, taking them both out of view. Jacob? Trixa's voice sounds distant. Are you even listening? Sorry, I mutter, still staring at the now empty elevator. What were you saying? Mother and Trixa exchange knowing looks, but I can't bring myself to care. My mind is already racing ahead, wondering where Nyla and Kevin are headed, what they might be discussing, how his hand felt against her back.
Chapter 1, 128. Kevin. I watch Nyla's shoulders slump as we exit the board meeting. Her confident facade crumbles the moment we're alone. She's like a deflating balloon, all that bravado seeping out. That was interesting, I say, keeping my tone neutral. Nyla leans against the wall as she looks around to make sure no one is watching. God, I made a complete fool of myself, didn't I? You held your own. I adjust my tie, catching her reflection in the mirrored walls. Though maybe next time leave the phone in your purse. She runs a hand through her hair, frustration evident in every movement. Kevin, I need to know when I can access more funds. The credit line isn't cutting it anymore. Already? I raise an eyebrow. That was supposed to last months. I know. She wrings her hands together. But between the house for my parents, the shopping, the parties, it's just gone so fast. I place a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Hey, look at me. Everything's under control. I've got my eye on all the financials. Trust me, okay? You're sure? Her eyes search mine, desperate for validation. When have I ever steered you wrong? I flash her my most winning smile. This is what you hired me for. Let me handle the money matters while you focus on looking fabulous in the boardroom. I place a gentle hand on her back. Besides, I add, you're worth billions now. A few expensive shopping sprees are nothing in the grand scheme of things. Thank you, Kevin, Nyla says, her shoulders relaxing under my touch. You're the only one who gets it. I guide her toward my office, away from prying eyes and ears. Everyone's going to have an opinion about your money, Nyla. Your parents, your friends, even Jacob. They all think they know what's best for you. She sinks into one of my leather chairs, absently running her fingers along the armrest. Lori and Zara keep giving me these looks, like I'm some kind of cautionary tale waiting to happen. Let me guess. They're worried you're spending too much? I lean against my desk, loosening my tie. I've seen this 100 times. The minute someone comes into money, everyone around them suddenly becomes a financial advisor. Exactly. Nyla throws up her hands. Even my parents. They acted like I was crazy for buying their house. I shake my head, letting out a knowing chuckle. It's jealousy, plain and simple. They can't handle seeing you succeed, seeing you rise above their level. You think so? Her voice carries a hint of uncertainty. Trust me, I've dealt with plenty of high-profile settlements. People get weird when someone in their circle suddenly has money. I move to sit in the chair next to her. But here's the thing. You're Nyla Thomas. You earned this. You outplayed the Stones at their own game. A small smile tugs at her lips. I did, didn't I? Damn right you did. And you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life. I reach over and squeeze her hand. Let them talk. You just keep being you. Yeah, you're right. No explanations, she says to herself. I catch Nyla watching Jacob talking with Hilda and Trixa. Speaking of bad blood, what's going on with you and Stone? The air was so thick I could barely breathe. Nothing's going on, she says, shaking her head. He's just still mad about the whole Neuromax situation. I step closer and look her in the eyes, but hers dart away from mine. Really? Because that didn't look like anger to me. And I heard about your dinner date the other night. Nyla's shoulders tense. It wasn't a date. We were discussing business. Over candlelight at Le Bernardin? I raise her chine so her eyes meet mine. Come on, Nyla. Give me some credit here. She bites her lip, a tell I've come to recognize. Kevin, Listen, I say, cutting her off. Jacob Stone might have his billions and his fancy hospital, but what can he really offer you? Another round of games and manipulation? That's not what this is about, Nyla tries to protest. I can give you something real, I continue, moving closer. Adventure, excitement, true partnership. No strings attached, no family drama. Just us, taking on the world together. Nyla's expression wavers. It's complicated. It doesn't have to be. I brush a strand of hair from her face. Stone's still tied to Trixa, playing both sides. But me, I'm all in, just for you. No complications, no divided loyalties. I rub her shoulders gently, trying to ease her concerns. Think about it, Nyla. Who's been there for you through all of this? Who's helped you claim your power? She doesn't respond, but I can see the wheels turning in her head. Good. Let her think about it. Let her realize that while Stone might offer prestige, I can give her something far more valuable. Freedom. Speaking of which, I say, adjusting my Rolex, there's this exclusive club opening tonight. Owner's a client of mine. Very hush-hush, very elite. Could be fun. Nyla's eyes light up, but I notice they drift past me. Following her gaze, I spot Jacob lingering by the conference room, pretending to check his phone while clearly eavesdropping. Sounds interesting, Nyla says, her attention split. What time? I'll pick you up at 10. I step closer, deliberately blocking her view of Jacob. Wear something spectacular. The press will be there. She fidgets with her bracelet. The press? I don't know, Kevin. Trust me. It's exactly what you need right now. Show everyone the new Nyla Thomas in her element. I touch her arm lightly. Besides, I hear Rihanna might make an appearance. That gets her attention back. Really? Would I lie to you? I flash my most winning smile, though inside my stomach churns. The way she keeps glancing at Jacob, how her body unconsciously angles toward him. I've seen it before with other women. But Nyla, no. I've invested too much in this relationship. Okay, 10 it is, she agrees finally. Perfect. I lean in, kissing her cheek, making sure Jacob gets a good view. Wear that red Versace number I bought you. You look killer in it. As we walk toward the exit, I place my hand on the small of her back, marking my territory. Jacob can look all he wants, but Nyla's with me now, and I plan to keep it that way.
I thought I was getting a fake marriage, but I didn't know my story was being told by Miss Tyla.
This isn't just any fake marriage, now is it?
No, you introduced me to the devil.
Come on, girl, Jacob isn't that bad.
Oh, I love Jacob. His family, on the other hand?
Beggars can't be choosers, Nyla. You should be grateful I even let Jacob Stone look your way.
I just wanted to save my granddaddy. Is that so bad? Why couldn't you let this be a normal fake marriage? Instead, you put me in a twisty story filled with money, betrayal, power, and lies.
Let's not forget love.
That's what keeps me going. But not gonna lie, Miss Tyla. This story you got me in ain't the simple fake marriage, happy ending I thought it would be.
It's not. Because where would be the fun in that?
Treat yourself to Say Less I Love You. Tuesdays and Thursdays. New seasons premiere every month. Or skip the wait and grab the full series bundle from TylaWalker.com. Treat yourself with Miss Tyla. Chapter 1, 129. Nyla. The champagne bubbles tickle my nose as I take another sip, watching the city lights blur past the tinted windows of Kevin's stretch limo. Zara shifts beside me, adjusting her sequin dress. I'm sorry Lori got stuck with that night shift, Zara says, checking her lipstick in a compact mirror. You're stuck with second best tonight. I reach over and squeeze her hand. Stop that. You're not second best anything. Things have been tense between Zara and I for a while now, but I'm determined to show her I'm still the same old Nyla. Sure. She rolls her eyes but can't hide her smile. At least pretend you mean it. I do mean it. I top off our glasses. From the bottle, chilling in the ice bucket. Plus, you're way better at these fancy events than Lori. Remember when she wore sneakers to that charity gala? Zara laughs, the sound bright and infectious. Oh my God, yes. Those ratty old Converse with her evening gown. She said her feet hurt, I defend through my own giggles. Speaking of fancy, Zara leans forward, eyes sparkling with excitement. Is it true? Is Rihanna really going to be there? That's what Kevin said. I drain my glass, hoping the champagne will drown out thoughts of a certain CEO who definitely won't be at this club opening. He's got connections everywhere these days. Things seem to be going well with him, Zara observes, studying my face. Yeah, I pour myself another glass, avoiding her knowing gaze. They are? But as the limo glides through Manhattan traffic, all I can think about is Jacob's smile when we danced the other night, the way his hands felt on my waist, how his cologne lingered on my skin long after we said goodbye. I shake my head, trying to clear it. The feeling in the air shifts as I settle into the plush leather seat of the limousine, smoothing down my Versace dress. Zara sits across from me, her arms now crossed, lips pursed in that way that tells me she's got something to say. Must be nice. Rich boyfriend, millions of dollars. All this, she mutters, eyeing my designer outfit. Having everything handed to you on a silver platter now? I scoff and take a slow sip of champagne. Nothing was handed to me, Zara. I earned this. She scoffs. Right, because finding out your rich daddy left you millions is really earning it. You know what? I set my glass down with more force than necessary. I spent years working double shifts, breaking my back to make ends meet. Now that I finally have something good, you can't handle it. Handle it? Zara's eyes narrow. Please, I just think it's funny how you've forgotten where you came from. And all this? She waves her hand dismissively at the limo interior. Isn't real. It's not you. And who exactly are you to decide what's real for me? I lean forward, my voice sharp. Last time I checked, you were right there begging to go shopping with me when I first got my money. That was different. Was it? I cut her off. Or are you just mad because now I can afford the things you've always wanted? Zara's mouth snaps shut, her face flushing. The silence stretches between us, heavy with unspoken accusations. You know what your problem is, Zara? I continue, emboldened by the champagne and my newfound confidence. You liked me better when I was struggling. Made you feel good about yourself. That's not true, isn't it? Because ever since I came into money, all you've done is throw shade and make snide comments. The limo slows to a stop outside the club, the bass from inside already vibrating through the windows. Zara grabs her clutch, her knuckles white. At least I'm still me, she says, her voice cold. Can you say the same? The limo pulls up to Nebula, Manhattan's hottest new club. The scene outside is pure chaos. Paparazzi cameras, flash-like strobe lights, catching glimpses of celebrities and socialites draped in couture. The line stretches around the block, but Kevin's name gets us straight to the front. Holy hell, Zara whispers, clutching her Forever 21 clutch. Is that Taylor Swift? I adjust my Cartier bracelet, already scanning the crowd for familiar faces. Probably. Kevin says everyone who's anyone will be here tonight. The bouncer unhooks the velvet rope, nodding at us. Welcome to Nebula, Miss Thomas. Zara trails behind as we enter, her eyes wide as she takes in the opulent interior. Crystal chandeliers drip from the ceiling, casting prismatic light across the crowd of beautiful people below. The music pulses through my bones, a remix of some top 40 hit I'd never have recognized a few months ago. Nyla. A group of women wave from a prime booth near the DJ. I recognize them from recent charity events, daughters of hedge fund managers and real estate moguls. Come on, I say to Zara as I weave my way through the crowd. I weave through the pulsing crowd, the bass thumping through my Manolo Blahniks. The socialites wave me over, their diamonds catching the strobing lights. They all rush to hug me, squealing in delight that I am there. I turn to make sure Zara's keeping up, but she's vanished in the sea of bodies. Damn it, I mutter, scanning the crowd. The DJ cranks up the volume, and the mass of people shifts like a living thing. Nyla! Zara's voice cuts through the noise. I spin around to find her glaring at me, her carefully applied makeup already starting to run from the heat. There you are. I was just... Save it, she snaps, grabbing my arm. Real nice of you to look out for your friend in this mess. Oh, wait, you didn't? I pull my arm free, irritation flaring. Come on, Zud. Don't be dramatic. I thought you were right behind me. Right behind you? I've been trying to catch up for the last 10 minutes while you're busy playing society princess. That's not fair. No? She lets out a bitter laugh. You know what's not fair? Watching my best friend turn into someone I don't even recognize anymore? The words sting more than they should. I'm still me, Zara. Are you? She looks me up and down, taking in my designer dress and new highlights. Because the Nyla I knew wouldn't have left her friend alone in a crowd of strangers just to kiss up to some trust fund babies. I wasn't. Save it for your new friends, she cuts me off, backing away. Must be lonely up there on your pedestal. Hope it's worth it. Before I can respond, she turns and disappears into the crowd, leaving me standing alone in a sea of beautiful strangers. Chapter 1, 130, Nyla. I scan the crowded club, still fuming from Zara's outburst. The nerve of her, acting like I'm some kind of villain just because I finally have something good in my life. The bass thumps through my chest as I weave between dancing bodies. Through the sea of beautiful people, I spot Kevin's familiar profile at the VIP section. Thank God. At least someone gets me. He catches my eye and waves me over, his smile warm and inviting. There's my girl, Kevin says, pulling me close. I was starting to think you got lost in this chaos. Just dealing with some friend drama, I reply, accepting the champagne flute he offers me. Nothing worth discussing. Perfect timing then. I want you to meet someone special. Kevin gestures to the striking woman beside him. She exudes the kind of effortless grace that only comes from generations of old money. Nyla, this is Anastasia Petrov. Anna, meet the brilliant Nyla Thomas I've been telling you about. Anastasia extends a perfectly manicured hand. Finally, Kevin won't shut up about you. Her accent carries just a hint of European sophistication. He says you're shaking things up at Stone Hospital Group. I try my best, I say with a smile, already feeling more at ease. This is the world I belong in now. Anna here practically wrote the book on handling uptight socialites, Kevin explains. Her family practically owns half of Monaco. Please, Anastasia rolls her eyes playfully. It's barely a quarter, but Kevin's right about one thing. I do know how to navigate these waters. And from what I hear, you could use an ally who understands this world. I take a sip of champagne, intrigued. I'm definitely still learning the ropes. Then you're in luck, Anastasia says, linking her arm through mine. I have so much to teach you. The lights flash, illuminating the decadence around us as Anastasia leads me through the VIP section, introducing me to a blur of beautiful people with impossibly perfect teeth and designer everything. Unlike Zara's barely concealed disdain, Anna's enthusiasm feels genuine, infectious even. Darling, you simply must meet Xavier, she says, pulling me toward a tall man with cheekbones that could cut glass. He's absolutely brilliant with investments. Hours blur together in a haze of champagne and laughter. Every time I mention something from my past, my nursing days, growing up in Queens, Anna doesn't flinch or judge. Instead, she leans in closer, fascinated. That's what makes you interesting, she purrs, topping off my glass. Anyone can be born into money, but climbing your way up? That takes something special. Kevin pulls me onto the dance floor, his body moving with mine to the pulsing beat. The strobe lights paint everything in flashes of blue and gold, making the moment feel surreal. You're something else tonight, he whispers in my ear, his hands resting on my hips. I lean back against him, letting the music guide our movements. Maybe I'm just finally becoming who I was meant to be. Or maybe he spins me around to face him. You're just getting started. We dance closer, the heat between us building with each beat. The champagne buzzes through my system, making everything feel lighter, more electric. Kevin's touch leaves trails of fire on my skin. The old Nyla would never have dared, I say, running my fingers through his hair. He grips my waist tighter. The old Nyla didn't know what she was worth. Anastasia appears beside us, her eyes glittering with mischief. Darlings, this party's getting dull. Time for the real fun to begin. Oh? I raise an eyebrow, already intrigued. After party, just a select few. She gestures to the small group of beautiful people gathering near the exit. What do you say? Ready to see how the other half really lives? Kevin looks at me, waiting for my answer. The old me would have made excuses, gone home to rest before my next shift, but I'm not that person anymore. Lead the way, I say, taking Anna's outstretched hand. By the time we hit the after party at some underground speakeasy, I'm floating on cloud 9. The intimate space thrums with energy as bottles arrive with sparklers, each one more expensive than the last. Let me get this round, Anna offers, but I wave her off. Please, I say, signaling the waitress. It's the least I can do after you've made me feel so welcome. I hand over my black card without hesitation, ignoring the astronomical total. Besides, what's the point of success if you can't celebrate it? Anna beams at me. I knew I liked you for a reason. She raises her glass. To new friendships and leaving the haters behind. I clink my glass against hers, thinking of Zara's earlier sneer. I'll drink to that. Kevin watches our exchange with approval. See, I told you two would hit it off. You did good, Shaw, Anna agrees, throwing an arm around my shoulders. She's exactly what our little circle needed. I lean back in the plush booth at 11 Madison Park, still buzzing from last night's adventures. Anastasia sits across from me, looking impossibly fresh despite our late night. Darling, you're a natural, she says, stirring her martini. The way you handled that hedge fund manager who tried to mansplain crypto, perfection. I laugh, remembering his stunned expression. I learn from the best. Who knew there was an art to telling someone to screw off while making them think it's their idea? That's the game, sweetie. Anna waves down a waiter. Another round of martinis, extra dirty. She turns back to me. It's all about making them feel important while you're actually running the show. Kevin slides into the booth beside me, his arm draping casually across my shoulders. Looks like my two favorite women are plotting world domination. Just teaching your girl the ropes, Anna says with a wink, though she hardly needs it. That thing with the bottle service at One Oak? Brilliant. I still can't believe you got us into that private room, I say to Anna. The looks on those Real Housewives' faces when they had to move. Power moves, darling. That's what separates the players from the pretenders. Anna raises her glass. And you, my dear, are definitely a player. I turn to Kevin, squeezing his hand. Thank you for introducing us. I finally feel like I belong in this world. Of course you do, Anna interjects. You've got the three things that matter: money, beauty, and balls. Everything else is just window dressing. The waiter returns with our drinks, and Anna raises hers in a toast. To making the right friends in all the wrong places.
You think you can catch me? You think you can tame me?
Oh, I know I can. And you know it too, baby.
I gotta tell you, you're not the first to try.
But don't worry, baby. I'll be the last.
With sass like that, maybe I'll be the one that needs to tame you.
Let's cut to the chase, big boy. What you selling me?
Your appetite is big AF. I have just the thing that'll satisfy you.
Oh, really? And what's that?
Over 120 hours of romance audiobooks. Brought to you by Tyla Walker Romances in the Big AF Audio Bundle.
120 hours? That sounds amazing.
Your knees won't work afterwards if I do my job right.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Well, I can keep this promise. Because these audiobooks are unabridged with all the spicy scenes that will make you put your earbuds on. You know, Tyla can get freaky because she marked the bundle down by 69% for a limited time.
I can't wait to take this bundle for a ride.
Visit TylaWalker.com and get this audio bundle. Just don't start listening if you're going to be cooking dinner. Because you might just forget to feed your family.
TylaWalker.com. Escape your life with Tyla.
Chapter 131. Jacob. I follow Alexander through the vast warehouse, my footsteps echoing off the concrete floor. The space is impressive, high ceilings, good ventilation, and plenty of room for the equipment we'll need. Previous tenants were a bit problematic, Alexander says, gesturing to where old sewing machines once stood. But we convinced them to seek opportunities elsewhere. I'm sure you were very persuasive, I mutter, noting the fresh paint covering what looks like old graffiti. Alexander chuckles. Let's just say they received an offer they couldn't refuse. Well, thank you for getting us such a deal, I say, running calculations in my head. The board will love this, though explaining it to Derek might be tricky. Derek doesn't need to know everything, Alexander replies smoothly. Sometimes the less our lawyers know, the better. I pause by a loading dock, taking in the strategic location. Good access points, easy for deliveries. And discreet enough for other activities, Alexander adds meaningfully. The security cameras have certain blind spots, useful for when privacy is needed. Right, I say, trying to keep my voice neutral, remembering that this isn't just some everyday business arrangement. Very convenient. Alexander stops, turning to face me. Jacob, relax. This is a win-win. You get your production facility at an unbeatable price, and we get what we need. Simple. Nothing's ever simple with you people, I respond, but there's no real fight in my voice anymore. Smart man, Alexander says with a knowing smile. Now, let me show you where we'll set up the main production line. I follow him deeper into the warehouse, trying to ignore the knot in my stomach. The board will be thrilled with the cost savings, but at what price? I follow Alexander through the warehouse, where workers are already installing new equipment. The contrast to the empty space we just left is striking. The side will be a legitimate garment factory, Alexander says, pride evident in his voice. Fair wages, proper working conditions, everything by the book. Really? I raise an eyebrow. That's unexpected. He stops, turning to face me. Look, I know what you're thinking, but I want to build something real here, something good. Your family's okay with that? They have their business. I have mine. Alexander gestures to a woman showing fabric samples to potential buyers. See her? Used to work in the sweatshop we shut down. Now she's my floor manager, making triple what she did before. I watch the woman confidently discussing thread counts and textile grades. You gave her a chance. Everyone deserves one, he says. My uncle, he built his empire on exploitation. I want to do things differently. And the other half of the warehouse? I ask pointedly. Alexander's expression hardens slightly. That's all yours, but this? He waves at the bustling factory floor. This is mine. Done right. Done legal. Why tell me all this? Because, he says, I need you to understand. I'm not just some thug. When I make promises about treating people fairly, I mean it. I study his face, searching for deception, but finding none. I hope you're serious about this. Dead serious, he replies, but I'll need your help. Of course you do, I say with a smirk. Alexander reaches across a nearby table, his movements precise and deliberate. He grabs a pristine white sheet, holding it up so the overhead lights catch the fabric. Here, feel this, he says, extending it to me. I run the material through my fingers, surprised by its luxurious texture. The thread count must be astronomical. This is impressive. Egyptian cotton, 800 thread count. Alexander smooths a corner of the sheet. Custom made in our facility here. It's almost better than what I have on my own bed, I admit, examining the tight weave. The finishing is impeccable. That's because we actually care about quality, he says with a hint of pride. Not like those mass-produced sheets you're getting now from your current supplier. I nod, still running my fingers over the fabric. Our patients would definitely notice the difference. Good. Alexander's smile widens. Because starting next month, we'll be your exclusive linen supplier. Wait, what? I look up sharply. Already arranged through proper channels, he assures me. All above board, competitive pricing. Your procurement department signed off yesterday. Of course they did, I mutter, realizing this is yet another way he's embedding his organization into my hospital's operations. Think of it as a win-win, Alexander says, taking the sheet back and folding it with practiced ease. Your patients get luxury linens, we get a legitimate business contract, and everyone's happy. I watch him stack the folded sheet with others on the table, wondering just how deep this partnership is going to go. Now let me show you our quality control system. You might want to implement something similar on your side. I find myself chuckling at Alexander's dry observations about workplace safety regulations as we tour the legitimate side of his operation. Despite everything, the extortion, the threats, the poison coursing through my veins, there's something oddly likable about him. See these ergonomic chairs? He pats the back of one. Cost me a fortune, but carpal tunnel lawsuits cost more. You've really thought this through, I say, genuinely impressed. Had to. My uncle's way of doing things? Alexander shakes his head. That's not sustainable. You build on exploitation, it all comes crashing down eventually. I nod, remembering the board meetings where we discussed similar principles. The smart play is taking care of your people. Exactly. He grins, and for a moment I forget he's technically my captor. Though I bet your HR department doesn't have to deal with quite the same retention issues we do. You'd be surprised, I reply with a smirk. Hospital politics can get pretty cutthroat. We share a laugh, and I catch myself. What am I doing? This man's organization has me under their thumb, threatening my life, and here I am trading workplace jokes with him like we're colleagues at a conference. Something wrong? Alexander asks, noticing my sudden discomfort. This is weird, right? I gesture between us. The whole situation. He considers this, then shrugs. Life's weird, Jacob. Sometimes the people holding you hostage turn out to be decent human beings. Well, mostly decent. Is this Stockholm Syndrome? I wonder aloud. Nah, Alexander says, leading me toward the exit. Just two guys trying to make the best of a complicated situation. Speaking of which, wait till you see the break room. Even installed one of those fancy coffee machines.
Chapter 1, 132. Nyla. I groan as sunlight pierces through my curtains, my head pounding like a jackhammer. My phone shows no messages from Jacob. Again. What's taking him so long to end things with Trixa? I need coffee, I mutter, stumbling toward my kitchen. The buzzing of my phone makes me wince. Darling, Anastasia's voice cuts through my hangover fog. You simply must join me for lunch at Balthazar. Then we're hitting the Versace show. I rub my temples. Anna, I'm not sure I'm up for nonsense. I'll send a car. Wear something fabulous. Before I can protest, she hangs up. I stare at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. Designer pajamas wrinkled. Last night's makeup smudged. An hour later, I'm transformed in a cream Chanel suit, my hair perfectly styled. The town car glides to a stop outside Balthazar. Anastasia air kisses my cheeks. You look divine, darling. Though those shoes? She clicks her tongue. What's wrong with Louboutins? Nothing if you're trying to blend in with the masses. Here. She pulls a shopping bag from under the table. I picked these up for you. Limited edition Manolos. I peek inside, seeing shoes that probably cost more than a car. Anna, I can't. Of course you can. You're one of us now. She waves down a waiter. 2 glasses of Dom, and we'll start with the caviar service. The champagne arrives, golden bubbles dancing in crystal flutes. As we sip, Anastasia regales me with tales of her recent yacht trip to Monaco. You really must come next time, she insists. The parties are divine, and the men, she winks. I think of Jacob and force a smile. Sounds amazing. Trust me, darling. This is just the beginning of your fabulous new life. The Versace show is a blur of impossibly tall models and flashing cameras. I sink into my front row seat, still nursing my hangover from lunch. Anastasia seems to know everyone, air-kissing designers and calling out to celebrities by their nicknames. Darling, she trills to a willowy blonde strutting past. Your walk was divine. You know her? I whisper. Of course. That's Sasha. We summered together in Saint-Tropez. Anastasia waves to someone else. Oh, and there's Marcus. He throws the most fabulous parties in his penthouse. After the show, Anastasia links her arm through mine. The real fun's just starting, darling. The models are heading to Le Bain. I should probably get some rest. Rest? She looks at me like I've suggested we go dumpster diving. Darling, you're young, rich, and gorgeous. Sleep when you're dead. But when was the last time you really let loose? Before all that dreary hospital work. The mention of the hospital stings. I think of Jacob, probably at home with Trixa right now. My chest tightens. You're right, I say. Let's go. We hop from Le Bain to Paul's Baby Grand to some underground club I've never heard of. The night becomes a blur of expensive champagne and bass-heavy music. Models and socialites swirl around us like exotic birds, their laughter tinkling like wind chimes. Is this really your life? I ask Anastasia as we share a cigarette on a rooftop lounge. She exhales a perfect smoke ring. Darling, this could be your life too. You've got the money now. Why not enjoy it? No more night shifts, no more bedpans, no more answering to anyone. The champagne bubbles through my veins, making everything sparkle. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is exactly what I need, to lose myself in this glittering world where Jacob Stone can't touch me. Another round? Anastasia suggests with a knowing smile. Keep them coming, I reply, pushing thoughts of Jacob aside. I fumble with my keys. The sunrise painting Manhattan's skyline in shades of pink and gold that make my head throb. My Manolo Blahniks dangle from my fingers. Anastasia might have spent a fortune on them, but after a full day and night of partying, I couldn't walk in them for one more minute. Great, I mutter as I drop the keys. The sound echoes in the quiet hallway, making me wince. My phone buzzes. Another text from Anastasia. Darling, you were divine tonight. The Saudi prince couldn't take his eyes off you. I ignore it, finally managing to unlock my door. The emptiness of my apartment hits me like a physical force. Even with all the designer furniture I've bought, it feels hollow. I collapse onto my couch, not bothering to take off my dress. The fabric probably costs more than a nurse's weekly salary. The thought makes me laugh, but it comes out more like a sob. Get it together, Nyla, I tell myself, staring at my phone. No messages from Jacob. Again, the room spins slightly as I scroll through our text history. The last message from him was 3 days ago. Had a great time at dinner. We'll talk soon. Soon. Right. My fingers hover over the keyboard. The champagne still buzzing through my system makes me bold. Or stupid. Maybe both. Still waiting for that talk. I type, then delete it. How's Trixa? Delete. Do you even care anymore? Delete. I throw my phone across the room, watching it land softly on a pile of shopping bags from yesterday's spree. The tags still hang from most of the clothes inside. I bought them because Anastasia said they were absolutely necessary, darling. But now they just look like expensive bandages for a wound that won't heal. The sun creeps higher, sending shafts of light across my floor. They illuminate the glitter on my dress, making it sparkle, like tears, or stars, or all the promises Jacob and I made that night at dinner. I close my eyes, but all I see is his face.
Chapter 1, 133. Jacob. I lean back in my chair, watching Derek demolish his third slice of pizza. The remains of our lunch meeting are scattered across my desk, casualty of our brainstorming session. Vegas, obviously, Derek says through a mouthful of pepperoni. We'll get a suite at the Bellagio, maybe hit up XS. It's such a long way away. I cut him off, shuffling some papers to avoid his gaze. Let's focus on the Neuromax rollout first. Derek sets down his pizza, wiping his hands deliberately. A long way away? Dude, your wedding's in a few months. My stomach drops. Has it really gotten that close? Right, yeah, I just meant... What's going on with you? Derek's eyes narrow. You've been weird about this whole thing. Nothing's going on, I'm just busy. Whatever. He leans forward. I've known you since prep school. This isn't pre-wedding jitters. I fidget with my pen, clicking it repeatedly until Derek reaches over and snatches it away. Talk to me, man. It's complicated. It's Nyla, isn't it? The name hits me like a punch to the gut. I try to keep my face neutral, but Derek sees right through it. Jesus, Jacob. He runs a hand through his hair. You're still hung up on her? I'm not... I start, but the lie dies in my throat. Look, it's not what you think. Really? Because I think you're about to marry Trixa while pining after another woman. He shakes his head. That's pretty screwed up, even for you. I know, I mutter, slumping in my chair. Trust me, I know. A knock at my door breaks the tension. Linda pokes her head in, clutching a stack of papers. Sorry to interrupt, but I need your signature on these vendor changes. What vendor changes? Derek asks, eyebrows raised. I grab the papers from Linda, scanning them quickly. Just switching our linen suppliers. The current one's been slipping on quality. Since when do you care about bedsheets? Derek snorts. Since our satisfaction scores dropped 2 points last quarter, I reply, signing the documents with perhaps more focus than necessary. Did you know we were paying premium prices for subpar thread count? Linda nods enthusiastically. The new vendor offers better quality at a 15% discount. 15%? Derek whistles. That's not bad. Exactly. I hand the papers back to Linda. Plus they have stricter quality control. No more mysterious stains or frayed edges. Who knew you were such a domestic goddess? Derek teases. I shrug, trying to look nonchalant. Someone has to pay attention to these things. It's all part of running a tight ship. Right, Derek drawls, but his suspicion seems to fade. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Linda gathers the paperwork and heads out, leaving me to breathe a silent sigh of relief. The less Derek knows about Alexander's suggestions for hospital vendors, the better. So, Derek says, reaching for another slice of pizza, are you going to tell me what's really going on? My heart pounds against my ribs as Derek stares me down. Sweat prickles at my hairline. Does he know about Alexander? The mob connection? The forced vendor changes? Look, Derek says, leaning forward. You need to make a decision about these women. The tension drains from my shoulders so fast I almost laugh. He's talking about Trixa and Nyla. It's not that simple, I say, loosening my tie. The AC feels like it's stopped working. Actually, it is. Derek tosses his napkin onto my desk. You're engaged to Trixa. But every time Nyla walks into a room, you look at her like she's water in the desert. I don't... Save it. He holds up a hand. I saw you at the board meeting. Hell, everyone saw you at the board meeting. You couldn't take your eyes off her. I slump in my chair. Damn it. Yeah, damn it is right. Derek crosses his arms. You're my best friend, but you're being an asshole. Either break it off with Trixa or get over Nyla. This back and forth crap isn't fair to anyone. I know. The words taste like ash in my mouth. I need time to figure things out. Time? Derek scoffs. The wedding's in 3 months. You're running out of time, buddy. He's right. Of course he's right. But with Alexander breathing down my neck and the hospital hanging by a thread, how can I focus on my love life? I'll handle it, I say, not meeting his eyes. You better. Derek stands, brushing pizza crumbs from his suit. Because this is going to blow up in your face if you don't. I pace outside Alexander's office, the vendor contracts weigh heavy in my briefcase, both literally and metaphorically. I need to deal with Trixa, need to be honest with her before things with Nyla go any further, but first, this mess. Alexander waves me in before I can knock. Jacob, my friend, come sit. The contracts are done, I say, placing the documents on his desk. New linen supplier, food service, everything you asked for. He flips through the pages, nodding approvingly. Perfect. Your attention to detail is impressive. Yeah, well, when you have poison coursing through your veins, you tend to be thorough. Alexander laughs, the sound oddly warm despite our circumstances. Speaking of thorough planning, I hear you're considering Vegas for the bachelor party. I freeze. How did you... I make it my business to know things, he says, leaning back in his chair. Miami would be better. Miami? My voice cracks slightly. You want to be the one to plan my bachelor party? The weather's nicer in Miami this time of year. Plus, I know some people who can make it memorable. I can't help but laugh, shaking my head at the absurdity of it all. Here I am talking about wedding plans by a mob enforcer who's poisoned me. He's acting like some kind of demented wedding planner. Miami it is, I say, spreading my hands in surrender. Are you angling for an invite? Alexander's lips twitch. I'm just trying to be a friend. His tone shifts, becoming more serious. And as your friend, I'm saying, you might want to work on your... enthusiasm. I straighten in my chair. What do you mean? A man about to marry the love of his life should be... what's the word? Radiant. I swallow hard. And I suppose you're an expert on marriage? I'm an expert on appearances, he counters. And right now, yours isn't matching the story we're trying to tell. The truth of his words stings more than I'd like to admit. But what can I say? That I'm in love with someone else? That this whole wedding is starting to feel like another form of poison in my veins?
This is it, baby. This is what you can get me that'll make me happy.
You know I'll get you whatever you want. All you need to do is ask me and I'll give it to you.
This ain't just it. This is everything I could ever want.
Now I'm curious. What does a strong, sassy woman like yourself want so badly?
Baby, you know what I want?
Can't wait to hear.
The Big Baddie Bundle from Tyla Walker. It has everything I need.
20 ebooks with over 1 million words of sassy romance and spice that'll keep you on your toes.
10 audiobooks containing over 60 hours of that seductive voice telling me naughty things all night long.
You don't need an audiobook for that, baby. Right here.
You may be fine and all, but no one tells it like the way Miss Tyla does. And I need her in my life.
The Big Baddie Bundle is everything you need. You can get it for 80% off.
Go to TylaWalker.com to browse the bundles that earn you the best deals.
It's time you treat yourself. Because you deserve it.
Escape your life with Miss Tyla.
Chapter 1, 134, Trixa. I sit in the sterile examination room, my Hermes bag clutched tight against my chest like a shield. The doctor's words float around me, clinical and cold, but all I can focus on is the steady tick of the wall clock. The blood tests show an aggressive form of leukemia, Miss Swan, Dr. Reeves says, her voice gentle but firm. We need to start chemotherapy immediately. I straighten my spine, years of prep school training kicking in. How immediate is immediately? Within the week. She flips through my chart. I'm scheduling you for your first round of chemo on Thursday. Thursday, the day Jacob and I are supposed to look at wedding venues. Can we push it to next week? I have commitments. Ms. Swan, she cuts me off. This isn't something we can postpone. The cancer is aggressive, without immediate treatment. I get it, I snap, then force myself to soften my tone. I'm sorry. This is just a lot. And we'll need to start searching for a bone marrow donor right away. Finding a match can take time. Time? My voice cracks, and I hate myself for it. How much time? It varies, weeks, months, sometimes longer. She leans forward, her eyes full of sympathy I don't want. Do you have siblings? They're usually our best chance for a match. I shake my head. Only child, lucky me. The laugh that escapes my throat sounds hollow. Dr. Reeves adjusts her glasses. Well, then it will be more of a challenge than we thought. Your HLA typing shows the genetic markers of Swan syndrome. It's extremely rare. Only a handful of documented cases worldwide. I know what it is, I snap, memories flooding back of endless tests and prodding as a child. Marcus Swan literally named it after studying my case. Dr. Swan was your father? Her eyes widen with recognition. Stepfather. I swallow hard. He met my mother when I was diagnosed. He was the only one who knew what was wrong with me. He knew because he had it too. Then you understand the complexity of finding a bone marrow match. She taps her pen against my chart. We need someone with the same genetic markers. Which basically doesn't exist, I cut in, my voice rising. I spent my entire childhood watching Marcus search for other cases. He found maybe 3 others worldwide. Medical science has advanced since then, she offers, but I can hear the doubt in her voice. Don't patronize me. I stand up, grabbing my bag. I grew up in hospitals. I know exactly what this means. Ms. Swan, please sit down. We need to discuss your treatment options. Treatment options? I laugh, the sound brittle. You mean besides finding a unicorn donor with an impossibly rare genetic condition? Chemotherapy can buy us time while we search. Time. The word tastes bitter on my tongue. That's all anyone ever offers me. More time to wait for a miracle that's never coming. Dr. Reeves looks at me with compassion in her eyes. In my line of work, time means everything. I lean forward. Then tell me how much time I have. What are my chances? Dr. Reeves shifts in her seat, adjusting her glasses. Ms. Swan, it's too early to make those kinds of predictions. We need to see how you respond to the initial treatments. That's not an answer. My voice comes out sharper than intended. She meets my gaze steadily. Every patient is different. Some respond remarkably well to treatment, while others... Can I survive this? The question hangs in the air between us, heavy with the weight of everything I'm not ready to lose. Jacob, the wedding, my future. Dr. Reeves folds her hands on her desk. Anything is possible, Ms. Swan. Medical science advances every day. New treatments are being developed. Stop. I hold up a hand. Just stop. I don't need the hopeful speech about medical miracles. I watched Marcus give that same speech to dying patients for years. I swallow hard. I need to know what I'm facing. The truth is, I can't predict your outcome this early, she says softly. But what I can tell you is that we have options. We have treatments. And yes, survival is possible. I nod slowly, processing her words. The clock on the wall continues its relentless ticking, counting down minutes I suddenly can't afford to waste. Possible, I repeat, tasting the word. I suppose that will have to do for now. My hands shake as I force the next question past my lips. What about, can I still have children? Dr. Reeves's expression softens and my stomach drops before she even speaks. The chemotherapy we're recommending is very aggressive. It will likely affect your fertility. Likely? I press, clinging to that sliver of hope. But not definitely? There are options we can discuss. Egg harvesting before treatment. I don't have time for that, I cut her off, remembering her earlier urgency about starting treatment. Do I? She shakes her head slowly. I wouldn't recommend delaying treatment that long. I press my palm against my stomach, imagining the children I might never have. Jacob's children. Our perfect family, slipping away before it even begins. Miss Swan, are you all right? No, I whisper, then straighten my shoulders. But I will be. And Jacob can't know about any of this. Your fiancé should be involved in these decisions? No. My voice comes out sharp, commanding, the voice I learned from my mother for dealing with difficult staff. He can't know. Not about the cancer, not about... I wave my hand vaguely at my midsection. Any of it. Treatment will be intensive. You'll need support. I have support, I have money, I have private nurses and discretion that money can buy. I stand up, smoothing my skirt. What I need is your guarantee that this stays between us. Dr. Reeves frowns. As your physician, I'm bound by confidentiality, but I strongly advise... Thank you, doctor. I cut her off again, already reaching for my phone to start making arrangements. Jacob can't know. He'd try to postpone the wedding, or worse, call it off entirely. I won't let cancer take this from me, too.
Chapter 1, 135. Jacob. I push through the front door, my mind heavy with the conversation I need to have with Trixa. The smell of roasted chicken and herbs hits me immediately, along with the soft glow of candlelight from our dining room. You're home. Trixa emerges from the kitchen wearing an apron, her face lit up with warmth. I made your favorite, herb-crusted chicken with those roasted potatoes you love. My rehearsed breakup speech dies in my throat. You... cooked. Don't sound so shocked, she laughs, pulling me toward the dining room. I can be domestic when I want to be. The table is set beautifully, with our best china and crystal wine glasses. A bottle of my favorite Bordeaux breathes in a decanter. This isn't the usual Trixa who always eats out complaining cooking leaves, kitchen smells in her hair. This is unexpected, I manage, sliding into my seat. Can't a girl do something nice for her fiancé? She serves me a perfectly plated portion. The chicken smells amazing. I take a bite of the chicken, guilt gnawing at my insides. Have you heard anything more from the doctor about your fainting spell? Trixa shakes her head, pouring more wine into my glass. No, and honestly, I think it was just stress. All this wedding planning. She trails off, fiddling with her napkin. Maybe you should take it easy, I say, setting down my fork. Step back from the planning for a while. Her hand freezes mid-pour. You want me to stop planning our wedding? Not stop, I backpedal, the word "our" hitting me like a punch to the gut. Just slow down. You're pushing yourself too hard. But there's so much to do, she protests, her voice rising slightly. The flowers, the venue, the guest list. None of which matters if you're not taking care of yourself, I cut in, the irony of my concern not lost on me. Here I am, worried about her health while planning to break her heart. Trixa sets down the wine bottle, her fingers trembling slightly. You're right. I should probably scale back a bit. Good, I say, relief flooding through me, both at her agreement and the temporary reprieve from my guilt. The wedding will still be there. For now, I think, but keep that part to myself. The chicken turns to ash in my mouth. Maybe I'll postpone the cake tasting next week, she muses, picking at her food. Though I was really looking forward to that red velvet sample. I nod, not trusting myself to speak. Every mention of wedding plans feels like another stone added to the weight on my chest. We eat, making small talk about our days. The food is surprisingly good, and the wine loosens us both up. After dinner, Trixa pours us each another glass and curls up next to me on the sofa. Jacob, she says softly, tracing patterns on my arm. What are your thoughts on adoption? I nearly choke on my wine. Adoption, where's this coming from? Oh, she shrugs, not quite meeting my eyes. I'm not getting any younger, and there are so many children who need homes. I just wondered if you'd ever considered it as an option. For us. The guilt crashes over me like a wave. Here I am planning to end things while she's thinking about our future family. Haven't really thought about it, I admit. No rush, she says quickly. Just something to consider. I take a sip of wine, letting the warmth of the alcohol steady my nerves. Actually, adoption it's a beautiful thing. Opening your home to a child who needs one. Trixa's eyes light up. Really? You'd consider it? Yeah, I say, surprised to find I mean it. I think we could give a kid a good life. Stable home, good education. Love, Trixa adds softly. That's the most important part. She nestles closer, and I wrap my arm around her shoulders. We could turn that spare room into a nursery, I find myself saying. The one with the big windows. Perfect for story time, Trixa murmurs. And we could put a rocking chair by the window. Maybe get one of those glow-in-the-dark star ceiling things. And a little bookshelf shaped like a tree. We sit there, painting this imaginary future with our words. For a moment, I forget about Nyla, about the lies, about everything except this quiet dream we're sharing. Later, as we're getting ready for bed, Trixa hesitates. Jacob, would it be okay if we just sleep tonight? Of course, I say, noting how she won't quite meet my eyes. Come here. I pull her close, breathing in the familiar scent of her shampoo. She feels smaller somehow, more fragile. Thank you, she whispers into my chest. I stroke her hair until her breathing evens out, feeling like the worst kind of bastard. Tomorrow, I tell myself. I'll end it tomorrow. I lie in bed, listening to Trixa's steady breathing beside me. The gentle rise and fall of her chest makes the guilt weigh even heavier. My phone glows in the darkness as I type out the message to Nyla. I need more time. The words feel inadequate, cowardly even. But after tonight, the dinner, the talk of adoption, the vulnerable way Trixa curled into me, I can't bring myself to hurt her. Not yet. 3 dots appear immediately. My heart races as I wait for Nyla's response. I won't wait forever, Jacob. The finality in those words makes my chest tighten. I start typing several responses, deleting each one before sending. Nothing seems right. Nothing can justify my cowardice. Finally, I put the phone down without replying. In the darkness, Trixa's peaceful breathing continues, unaware of my betrayal. I lie awake, trapped between the woman sleeping beside me and the woman waiting for me to make a choice I'm too weak to make. You won't know what hit you, baby. I'm going to take you, break you, and make you mine. When I'm done, you're...
Now hold on just a minute.
What?
I got something to say.
What's the meaning of this?
Now you may be some fine-looking white boy,
Got that right, baby. It takes hard work.
and you might got the money,
Fat stacks, baby, to spoil you with.
but that doesn't mean I'm going to give it up to you without a fight.
A fight?
You want some limp wilting flowers? Go to historical romance, baby. But you want sassy and spicy strong black queens that tame their alpha male bad boys?
I think our listeners do.
Then you go on and look at Miss Tyla's Bougie Brides and Billionaires audio bundle.
50 hours of me whispering the most romantic things in your ears. Fake marriages, alpha male billionaires, strong black women, steamy scenes that will make your eyes roll back. And everything wrapped up in a happily ever after that will put you in an afterglow.
Use code SAVE40 to get 40% off this bundle and any other digital product in Miss Tyla's store.
Unabridged and uncut.
Just like you,
You're gonna have to find out.
Tyla Walker Romances. Escape your life with sassy romance.
Chapter 1 136 Trixa. I run my hands across the delicate embroidery of my Armani dress, trying to focus on the shimmering fabric rather than the constant fatigue weighing me down. Julia chatters beside me about wedding flowers as we settle into our front row seats at the fashion show. I think peonies would be perfect for a summer wedding, Julia says. They're romantic, but not too stuffy. I nod, grateful for the distraction. The past few days with Jacob have been surprisingly sweet. Last night he even cooked dinner, burning the sauce, but trying nonetheless. These small moments help me forget about everything else. Are you listening? Julia nudges me. You seem distracted. Just wedding jitters. I lie, forcing a smile. You know how overwhelming these things can be. A burst of loud laughter cuts through the pre-show buzz. I glance over to see Nyla, of all people, slouched in her seat 3 rows away. Some dark-haired woman I don't recognize keeps pressing drinks into her hand. Is that Nyla? Julia whispers. She looks different. Different is an understatement. Nyla's designer outfit is immaculate, but her eyes are glazed, her movements unsteady. The woman beside her tops off Nyla's champagne glass yet again. Come on, darling, the stranger purrs. Live a little. Nyla giggles, the sound harsh and unfamiliar. You're right, Anna. Who needs responsibilities? Something in her voice makes my chest tighten. Maybe it's because I know what real problems feel like now, but watching Nyla spiral doesn't bring me the satisfaction it once might have. I'll be right back, I tell Julia, standing up. Where are you going? The show's about to start. Just need to check on something, I say, already moving towards Nyla's row. Cancer has changed many things about me, but apparently not my compulsion to fix broken things. I make my way over to Nyla's row, where she's practically draped over her companion's shoulder. The dark-haired woman eyes me with casual disinterest as I approach. Well, if it isn't the future Mrs. Stone, Nyla slurs, raising her champagne glass in a mock toast. Come to check on the help? Nyla, I say, keeping my voice even. Care to introduce me to your friend? The woman extends a manicured hand. Anastasia Petrov, and you must be the famous Trixa. I pause, the name unfamiliar despite my extensive knowledge of Manhattan's social circles. Strange, I don't believe we've met at any of the usual events. Oh, I tend to avoid those stuffy gatherings, Anastasia says with a dismissive wave. Too many rules, not enough fun. Right, Nyla? Nyla giggles again, spilling champagne on her dress. No rules, just fun. Seeing Nyla like this, in the middle of the day no less, would be enough to make anyone concerned. I'm still tired of hearing her name out of Jacob's mouth, but I can just leave her like this. I grab Anastasia's arm, pulling her aside. A word? Once we're out of Nyla's earshot, I drop the polite pretense. Listen carefully. I don't know who you are or what game you're playing, but Nyla isn't some toy for your amusement. Anastasia's smile turns sharp. My, didn't expect such concern from Jacob's fiancé. Just because we're not friends doesn't mean I'll watch her destroy herself for your entertainment. I step closer to Anastasia, lowering my voice to a dangerous whisper. Let me make something crystal clear. If anything happens to Nyla while she's in your company, I'll ensure every door in Manhattan slams shut in your face. Anastasia's lips curve into that infuriating smile. Darling, I already told you. I don't do your little society gatherings. No? I trace my finger along the sleeve of her designer dress. But you certainly wear their clothes, shop in their stores, dine at their restaurants. Amazing how quickly those privileges can vanish when the right people make a few calls. Her smile falters for just a moment. Good. And trust me, I continue, I know everyone who matters in this city. One word from me, and you'll be ordering knockoffs from Canal Street and eating hot dogs from street vendors. Are you threatening me? Anastasia's voice wavers slightly. Threatening? No, I'm making you a promise. Take better care of my friend, or find out exactly how much influence the Swan family has in this town. I turn on my heel, satisfied by the flash of genuine concern in her eyes. As I slide back into my seat, Julia leans over. Everything okay? Nyla seems rough, she whispers as the lights dim. I smooth my dress, settling in for the show. Just taking out some trash. Now, what were you saying about peonies? After the show, Julia and I step out into the crisp evening air, and I can't shake the image of Nyla's glazed eyes and that mysterious woman's predatory smile. Julia, I say, that dark-haired woman with Nyla, have you seen her at any of the usual gatherings? Julia furrows her brow, tapping her phone to summon her driver. Anastasia something? No, and you know I keep tabs on everyone worth knowing in this city. That's what I thought. I pull out my compact, checking my lipstick in the tiny mirror. Between the two of us, we know every socialite from Park Avenue to the Hamptons. Even the new money crowd, Julia adds, smoothing her Chanel jacket. And I've never seen her at any charity galas, museum openings, or even those tacky influencer parties. Something's off about her. I snap the compact shut. The way she kept pushing drinks on Nyla? Julia raises an eyebrow. Since when do you care about Nyla's drinking habits? I don't, I say quickly, perhaps too quickly. I've done my good deed for the year. If Nyla wants to throw herself away on suspicious new friends, that's her problem. There's the Trixa, I know, Julia laughs, linking her arm through mine. For a moment there, I thought the wedding stress had turned you soft. I force a smile, ignoring the familiar wave of nausea that has nothing to do with champagne. Please, I just didn't want her making a scene and ruining the show. Let her figure out her own mess.
Chapter 1, 137. Nyla. I sink deeper into the plush spa chair, letting the warm water bubble around my feet as the esthetician works her magic. The tension in my shoulders melts away with each expert stroke of the massage therapist's hands. God, this is heaven, I murmur, glancing over at Anastasia in the chair beside me. Our faces are covered in some sort of gold-flecked mask that I haven't even asked the price of. Darling, this is just Tuesday for me, she says with a laugh. You need to get used to treating yourself like the queen you are. I take a sip of my cucumber-infused water, hesitating before asking what's been on my mind. Hey, what did Trixa say to you at the show yesterday? I saw her pull you aside. Anastasia waves her hand dismissively, nearly knocking over her champagne flute. Oh, that little nobody? Please. I don't waste brain cells on people like her. You can just ignore her? The concept seems foreign to me after months of dealing with Trixa's presence in my life. Of course, darling. That's the beauty of our world. We choose who exists in it. Anastasia adjusts her silk robe. The rest? They're just background noise. I laugh, the sound echoing off the marble walls. I wish I'd known that was an option months ago. Would have saved me a lot of headaches. Exactly. Now you're learning? Anastasia raises her glass. To selective hearing and selective seeing. And selective everything else, I add, clinking my water glass against her champagne. I close my eyes. letting Anastasia's words sink in. Maybe she's right. Maybe I've been playing by the wrong rules all along. What about your family? I ask Anastasia as the esthetician works on my feet. They must have expectations of who you have to tolerate. Anastasia's laugh has a sharp edge to it. Oh, honey, I wouldn't know. I haven't spoken to my father in, what is it now? 3 years? I turn my head to look at her, nearly disrupting the face mask they've just applied. Really? But I thought that all rich families are one big happy Brady Bunch? She takes a long sip of champagne. My father's idea of parenting was throwing money at boarding schools and expecting perfection in return. When I didn't deliver, well, she shrugs, the silk of her robe rustling. Let's just say I prefer to make my own way. But you still use their money? The trust fund? Of course. Consider it 18 years of back-paid child support. She adjusts her position, careful not to disturb her own mask. I don't use the family name, though. Too much baggage, too many expectations. Is that why you avoid people like Trixa? People like her remind me of everything I left behind, the constant judgment, the endless social climbing. She wrinkles her nose. At least I'm honest about who I am. These society wives with their fake smiles and designer facades. They're just gilded cages with legs. The esthetician clears her throat, signaling she needs me to shift positions. As I move, I consider Anastasia's words. Sounds lonely. Better lonely than suffocating under someone else's expectations. She reaches over and pats my hand. Trust me, darling. The sooner you learn to live life on your own terms, the happier you'll be. I stare at my reflection in the spa's ornate mirror, barely recognizing myself beneath the gold-flecked mask. The woman looking back at me seems different, more polished, more confident. But underneath it all, I'm still the same Nyla who used to count pennies for bus fare. What's going on in that pretty head of yours? Anastasia asks, sipping her third glass of champagne. Just thinking about what you said, I admit. About living life on your own terms. I wouldn't even know where to start. She sits up, her silk robe rustling. Start small, darling. Say no to things you hate. Say yes to things that scare you. That simple, huh? Nothing worth having is simple, she says, fixing me with those sharp green eyes. But it's necessary. Look at you, still worried about what everyone thinks, still trying to please people who don't deserve it. I fidget with my cucumber water. Old habits die hard, I guess. Then kill them faster. Anastasia leans forward. You have money now, power, use it. Stop being the good little nurse who follows all the rules. I don't know if I can just change who I am. Honey, you already have. She gestures at my designer outfit. The old Nyla wouldn't be here getting a $1,000 facial. The old Nyla would be working double shifts and apologizing for existing. Her words hit home. She's right. I have changed, but there's still this nagging voice in my head, telling me to be careful, to stay in my lane. What if I mess up? I ask, hating how small my voice sounds. Anastasia laughs, the sound echoing off the marble walls. Then mess up spectacularly. At least you'll have fun doing it. When's the last time you did something just because you wanted to? Not because it was right or smart or what someone else expected. I open my mouth to respond, then close it. She's got me there. That's what I thought. She grins wickedly. Come over to the dark side, Nyla. We have much better parties. And what exactly does the dark side entail? I ask, surprising myself with my interest. Whatever the hell you want it to. Her eyes sparkle with mischief. Want to date 2 men at once? Do it. Want to spend ridiculous amounts of money on things you don't need? Go for it. Want to tell Hilda Stone exactly where she can shove her opinions? Be my guest. The possibilities make my head spin. Or maybe that's the champagne she keeps pushing on me. Just like that? Just like that. She reaches over and squeezes my hand. Stop being the good girl, Nyla. Start being the bad bitch you were meant to be. A smile spreads across my face, slow and dangerous. You know what? Maybe I will.
Hey, fam, listen. I know a lot of you are saying to yourself that Nyla is becoming as bad as the Stones and she has gotten out of control. But I want you to know that our girl Nyla is still the good, decent human being. Getting all that money may have blinded her, and you see that, and I see that. But she doesn't even see that. We better hope that her friends rescue her in time. Will they? Find out next time on Say Less I Love You.